G'day, g'day. How you going? What do you know? Don't strike a light. G'day, g'day. And how you going? Just say g'day, 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 and you'll be right.
Welcome to the Midweek End Times News and Trends Briefing, as we share major events and what is happening around the world as it relates to Bible prophecy. Today's date is Wednesday, December 21st, 2016. This video came on a little later than normal due to a different schedule and unscheduled meetings and other appointments that popped up, so I wasn't able to record this exactly when I typically try to record it during the week, especially on Wednesday afternoons. Anyways, as some things are developing around the world, the Israeli Defense Force tanks fire at Hamas targets in response to Gaza border shooting, according to the Jerusalem Post. So shots were fired at the Israeli defense troops stationed on the border near the southern Gaza Strip on Monday morning. The soldiers were securing civil engineering work near the border fence when they came under fire. There are no reports of injury or damage in the incident, but according to Channel 10 News, farmers in the area were advised by the army to stop working in the fields and to remain in their homes. The Israeli Defense Force responded shortly afterwards with tank firing targets in the Gaza-based Hamas positions, which according to the Palestinian media was located south of the Al-Baraj refugee camp. And this is, like we say on a weekly basis in dealing with Hamas or Hezbollah, a weekly and a daily situation that Israel has to face. This is just another one of those scenarios that happens on a regular basis. Also, another major event that happened just the other day, which is making things interesting in the Middle East. Russian ambassador was assassinated, and the gunman was shouting Allahu Akbar, as well as Don't Forget Aleppo. So the Russian ambassador was shot dead in Turkey, in its capital, in an assassination apparently linked to Syria's civil war, heightening tensions over conflict that draws in most of all the region's main powers. Andrei Karlov, who is the ambassador, was shot in the back at an art exhibition in the capital and died from his injuries, according to the Russian Foreign Ministry. The assailant shouted, "Don't forget Aleppo," according to the footage on Turkish television, in a reference to the city in Syria where most of the Islamic rebels have been defeated this month by Russian-backed government troops. Local media said that the attacker was killed by security forces. Karlov's deaths came just days after Russia's biggest victory since it joined the Syrian civil war last year and supported President Assad in this. Assad's army, with Russian air support, has retaken almost all of Aleppo, once Syria's largest city and for years a stronghold for the rebels. Turkey, which supported the insurgents were elsewhere in Syria, had played a key role along with Russia in negotiating the ongoing evacuation of opposition fighters and civilians. So this particular assassination definitely creates a lot of attention and a lot of intensity that's happening, that's going on there. And also, according to the Express website, talks about how Putin vows to obliterate ISIS after assassination of their ambassador. So he's promised to step up the fight against the terrorists following this particular horrific attack that happened. So these criminals will feel the heat. On a separate issue, another attack, because this week there's quite a few attacks that happened. This one, the other one that happened was in Berlin, and how ISIS claims responsibility for this particular lone wolf attack upon this kind of a Christian or Christmas market massacre, according to the Mirror website. So the terror attack, who killed 12 and injured dozens of others through a Berlin Christmas market, was still at large and armed to be out carry further attacks. The German police have said that the 23-year-old suspect arrested last night may not have been the attacker, since his blood and DNA does not match the samples that are found inside the truck. The attacker is suspected to have hijacked a Polish truck around 4 hours before plowing through into the crowds. The Polish driver died at the scene after being shot and stabbed by the hijacker. And the German Interior Minister did go on to say that this was an attack, so they're not downplaying it. They're saying and calling it for what it is. And again, this is going to be one of those constant situations that they're facing in Germany and other parts in Europe because of the refugees and the Islamic terrors that are creeping in there and trying to have a caliphate and trying to have their takeover of the world. Moving on down the peninsula into Yemen, according to CNN, they had a suicide bomber kills more than 50 in Yemen, and ISIS claims responsibility for this as well. And according to the report, there's at least 52 soldiers and injured 34 others in this particular attack. ISIS made its claim in a statement published on Twitter and tweeted by several ISIS supporters. Emergency trucks flooded the area of the attack, and the streets were closed down by military forces, and the injured soldiers were taken to 4 different hospitals in the city. The suicide bomber attacked one of these military bases where soldiers were lining up to receive their salaries, and the attacker was able to enter in the base dressed as a soldier. Back on December 10th, at least 48 soldiers were killed in an ISIS attack on the same camp, also targeting soldiers queuing up to get their salaries, according to the official news agency Saba. So it's just crazy that you're lining up, to get your pay for a hard day's work, if you will, and then you have this ISIS guy that's dressing up as a soldier, and he blows himself up with all these other people. Just a sad day to see that happening, no matter where you're at, but just crazy to think all these things taking place this particular week. On to a non-violent issue. But really cool to see this taking place. As we know that the election that happened last month by the American people, but it didn't become official until Monday, where the Electoral College places its vote. And if they do what they're supposed to do, he would have had 306 electoral votes, because some people decided, I'm not going to vote for him, even though he was actually voted in by the American people and by the Electoral College, but they decided to withhold their vote. Anyways, this particular report you see with a lot of different news sites how Trump wins the Electoral College vote and officially elected as the 45th president. So he has secured over 304 electoral votes following the Texas vote, with 2 faithless electorals, if you will, officially securing the presidency of the United States. So again, you need only 270 to be elected, and but we do see that he did when on the night when he was declared winner. Was 306, but like we just said, there's at least 2 that decided not to vote for him on that particular on Monday. Sorry. So despite all the anti-Trump protests and multiple campaigns to try to flip the electoral to support other candidates, and so that was unsuccessful. And you had this whole group of people that are just so upset with the whole Electoral College and how they want to dismantle the whole thing. And yet, here's the thing. If the tables were turned and, say, for example, Trump won the popular vote and Clinton won the electoral vote, they wouldn't be having this conversation. But because their candidate lost, they're unhappy about it and they're whinging and whining about it. And it's one of those things, the founding fathers were so brilliant that it makes sense to have this particular thing, so that way you're not just say, campaigning in Los Angeles or New York or one of the other two popular towns, but it's throughout the whole United States that you got to be elected, not just in a couple places. And so it made a lot more sense to have an electoral college to be elected president than just the popular vote. Anyways, also speaking of Trump, there was an interesting article that popped out of the Israeli National News, how Mossad chief gives a secret intelligence briefing to Trump. So he came in the other day. The head of the Mossad National Intelligence Agency made a secret visit to meet with members of President-elect Donald Trump and his staff to give them a security briefing. The Mossad's director briefed the president, Trump and his staff members, on the Iran nuclear deal, the Syrian civil war, and the threats and the Palestinian issue. According to Ynet News on Saturday, the report didn't say when the briefings did take place. The security delegation was organized by Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu, and yet, according to Ynet News, it was led by National Security Council of Israel. And Israel's ambassador to the U.S. Was also there in that particular meeting. I'm sure he had most of his staff and cabinet member that needed to know all this information as well. And so it's great to see President-elect Trump getting up to speed with all these issues. So on day one, he's ready to do what he needs to do to make America great again and to protect the United States' interest. And then finally, over the years, we've been seeing this sort of attack on Christmas taking place, as we're a couple days away from Christmas. But the war on Christmas, it seems like it's getting worse and worse every single year. And just this past week, we saw quite a few stories about these schools canceling its Christmas plays because just a line in there, just a little quote in there, for example, where Tiny Tim says, "God bless everyone." So the school said, we can't do the play anymore because of this particular line. And in some places, you also read about how you can't say Merry Christmas, but you can say Happy Holidays. And some people, they will only say Happy Holidays, but never say Merry Christmas. Because they don't want any mention of Christ, even though this is what this holiday is really about when it comes down to it. And then you have the atheists really stepping up their game plan and buying billboards to discourage people from going to church and just stay home. And the thing is, most people do what they want to do. If they want to go to church, let them go to church. If they want to stay home, then they stay home. But that billboard's not going to change or influence people's opinion. But over the years, we're seeing how this war on Christmas and, of course, Christianity is getting worse and worse. And also some of the lame excuses that people have about this whole thing as well. And there's people, they want inclusivity, they want diversity, but they want to exclude what, say, Christmas is about. They don't want to mention Jesus and his birth. They don't want anything to do with Christianity. But yet, even as you're walking around the shops and you hear the songs being played on the overhead system, you can't but hear the gospel going out there. The Christmas songs and carols mentioning Jesus' birth. You see how it hopefully draws people to their Savior, Jesus Christ. And so it's cool to see that some of the Christmas songs, and some of them it's just stupid, lame jingle bells or things about Santa, just as a distraction. But there's other songs that are being played that is the gospel, that you hear it being presented in there, or you're hearing pointing people to Jesus Christ and his birth and why he came. So anyways, it's just one of those things, just as an observation, as we see more attack on Christianity taking place every year. It gets more intense, especially in these last days and end times. And so it is my prayer that you all have a Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year, and may the Lord radically and outrageously bless you all, and may you all just have a deeper walk with him. So stay in the Word, keep your eyes on Jesus, and may you be used to share the love of Christ with as many people that God puts in front of you. And this is all we have time for this week. And till next time, God bless.